We are officially 2 weeks into the new year, and I'm certain that some of you made resolutions this past New Year's Eve that you intended to keep. Many of those resolutions probably included transforming yourself into a new and better you, which is a noble goal. But I looked up some statistics on New Year's resolutions, and here's the sobering truth. 38.5% of U.S. adults set New Year's resolutions every year. 59% of young adults ages 18 to 34 have New Year's resolutions, which make it the largest demographic that sets these goals. 48% want to exercise more, making it the most popular New Year's resolution. The top three are all health related. 23% quit in the first week, and only 36% make it past the first month. And then finally, only 9% successfully keep their New Year's resolutions. So for those 9%ers out there, I applaud you for the dedication and motivation that is needed to keep your New Year's resolutions alive and well. But what about the rest of us other 91% losers? We had some really good intentions, but somehow those intentions died, a quick and painless death. The demands of life made us slip back into old familiar habits and patterns. And if we suspect we're one of those 91%ers, and I am among them, I have a proposition for us. I suggest that we ditch whatever resolutions we made on New Year's Eve and adopt one simple goal. Start each and every day by telling ourselves that we are God's beloved, and then see how that affects our mood and our actions for the rest of the day. And any time during the day when we feel like we're less than God's beloved, we need to stop. Take a deep breath and remind ourselves of this truth again and again and again until we actually begin to believe it. You see, I think that the root of all New Year's resolutions is that we're unhappy with ourselves. Over the course of the past year, we've willingly let others slap labels on us that tell us things like, we're overweight, we're not worthy of being loved, we're a failure, we're unattractive, we're not creative, we're a bad parent, a grandparent, a spouse, friend, etc. And all of those labels begin to get very, very heavy. And they make us feel unmotivated to do anything except wrap ourselves up in a blanket and binge watch Netflix. But what if we could begin the new year by reminding ourselves that we are God's beloved and actually have the audacity to believe it? How would this change the way we experience life? Could it help us to throw off the labels that others try to attach to us? I think it could. Unfortunately, classic Lutheran theology fails us in this regard. The confession in our hymnal suggests that we should begin every worship service by telling ourselves the following. We confess that we are captive to sin and cannot free ourselves. We have sinned against God in thought, word, and deed, by what we have done and by what we have left undone. We have not loved God with our whole heart. We have not loved our neighbors as ourselves. And while there is nothing in this confession that isn't true, it's a motivation killer. Why try to be a better person if we're captive to sin and cannot free ourselves? That's a 100% failure rate. Could we please instead begin with a reminder that we are God's beloved, that we are the apple of God's eye, that if God had a refrigerator, our picture would be on it? Could we please begin with a glimmer of hope that we can be better, kinder, and more compassionate people? That we can have a glimmer of hope that we could become more like Jesus? Sure, we're going to mess this up. We will not 100% of the time love God with our whole heart. We will not 100% of the time love our neighbors as ourselves. But we will be able to pull it off some of the time. We will be less captive to sin if we begin to acknowledge that we are God's beloved. And I know this is pure heresy to some, but I also know that I'm not the only Lutheran pastor who feels this way. I really do begin each and every day by reminding myself that I am God's beloved. And every time I mess things up and let myself feel differently, I stop, take a deep breath, and remind myself of this truth time and time again until I actually begin to believe it. Then my goal for each day is that my words and actions will help others to know that they are God's beloved too. And this is not works righteousness, to toss around a super churchy phrase. I'm not trying to work my way into heaven by being a good person. I simply believe that what motivates me to be the best person I can be is not by focusing on my captivity to sin, but instead for focusing on my status as a beloved child of God. Over the years, I've accepted so many other labels that people have tried to slap on me. And this is especially true growing up as a young gay man who knew he was different, and the people around him told him that that difference was wrong. But once I could embrace the truth that I was indeed God's beloved, it was a game changer for me. I threw off all the weight of all the labels that others had placed on me, and my soul was unburdened. After I was able to accept my status as a beloved child of God, God and I went to work on healing old traumas and past wounds, and I became a stronger and better person. And trust me, I did not do this on my own. Not only was God in the mix, but also counselors, friends, family, prayer, meditation, reading, reflection. And none of this would have happened if I was unable to see myself as God's beloved first and foremost. On the day when Jesus was baptized, Mark tells us that just as he was coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens torn apart and the Spirit descending like a dove upon him. And a voice came from the heavens saying, "You are my Son, the beloved. With you I am well pleased." It is my hope that on this Sunday, as we celebrate the baptism of Jesus, we will hear the voice of God as we remember our baptisms. We are God's beloved children, each and every one of us, whether we believe it or not. Let's embrace this truth each and every day and see how it will transform us in the coming year. May this be the only resolution we strive to keep in 2023. Amen.